All right, everybody, super excited to bring you another episode of FranchisOR Bust. I am your host, Trevor. As with me, as always, we have Katie.
Hi there, welcome.
And today we are super excited to have our guest with us, Danessa Itaya from Bio1. She has many, many years of experience in the franchise space, and I am particularly fascinated by the franchise brand that she's working with now and running, Bio1, and to learn more about it. So, Danessa, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And I want to also make sure that I mention that FranchisOR Bust is brought to you this week and every week by StackAdapt, the number one provider of programmatic advertising for the franchise community. StackAdapt's a wonderful partner of LSM and also a partner of FranchisOR Bust. So feel free to look them up at stackadapt.com. Danessa, again, I'm fascinated by a franchise brand that specializes in crime scene slash cleanup for that industry. So I'll be really curious to learn more about you all and what you do. So if you wouldn't mind, maybe just start us kind of right there. What is Bio1? What's your role inside the brand, and what makes you all kind of tick and unique?
Absolutely. So just a little bit about me. My background is franchising and in the residential cleaning service industry. So home services, very home services oriented. And so when Bio1 came along, they thought, oh, cleaning, house cleaning. And it was funny to see how much of that is that experience is transferable. It is the clean that I think every residential cleaning company is happy to pass along to someone else to do. But the interesting thing is there's a huge need for it, and most people don't realize that. Most people don't know a service like this even exists. What Bio1 does is we come in and we specialize in crime scene trauma cleaning. So we come in after the first responders have been there, after the police have been there, and we are there to support the victims' families through cleaning their home and getting it back to a state that they can live in. And so with that, we work very closely with first responders. We work very closely with victim advocate groups, local community ties, property managers, folks like that. We also specialize in the kind of the cleanings that nobody else wants to do or is highly specialized. So we do a lot of drug remediation. I mean, you can only imagine with the epidemic that we've got, being able to be trained to do fentanyl cleans, meth lab cleans, things like that, unfortunately, is becoming a bigger there's quite a bit more visibility into that, and the danger and the fact that you have to be specialized to do that clean. It's not just your local church lady who can come and clean up there. The other big piece that we look at is our hoarding cleans. So, a lot of bio work involved there. Many people know a loved one or a family member or a neighbor who maybe that's something that they're in need of. And so with that, those are the things that we specialize in, the things that are a little bit bigger, a little bit deeper than what your residential cleaning crew will take care of.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, obviously there's certain aspects of that we perhaps even you wish were not a part of of a need, but they are a part of a need, and it's something that you're right. Most people wouldn't even know maybe to get in touch with a local provider for that. So how do you, as you have kind of coaching your franchisees and helping them, know how to present themselves in the market, et cetera, do you rely a lot on kind of building inside of the communities, inside of the, as you mentioned, the first responders, the property managers, things like that, and getting out the message out there that this service is available and it's available for your potential customer?
Absolutely. For us, the local boots on the ground marketing is key to this business. And, I don't know if there are many businesses out there that aren't sales and marketing forward, but Bio1 is absolutely, the name of the game is you got to get out there. You got to educate people on what we do, who we're with. But more than anything, it's a relationship building, because people are referring we're getting referrals on like these people. It's their worst day of their life. I mean, they're going through something highly traumatic, and who do we trust to be able to take care of this family? And so that level of compassion, that level of empathy is a big piece of our business model. And it's what we regularly see in our Google reviews is the caring, the compassion, the time that our franchisees or our businesses took to be able to understand the needs of the family, what they're going through, be able to walk them through what that process is, and get them into their home as quickly as possible. We work directly with the insurance carrier, so in most of these cases, their homeowners insurance will cover this kind of a cleanup.
One of the things that we speak about often on this show, and we just know from being around the world of franchising, is, as do you, it's really important for the franchisor to have established systems to make sure that their franchisees are going to be successful.
Right.
And I would say, in particular, with the services that Bio1 provides, that's maybe even all the more important. Could you talk a little bit about how at the franchisor and kind of system level you're supporting the franchisees who may be coming into this perhaps a little nervous? Because like you said, there's a lot of a lot of emotion that can be carried inside of the work that you all do.
Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting, and people often ask, how do you train people for what you guys do? And because we don't get to determine when we get a phone call, and so we're very fortunate. There are a couple things. One is we have a couple of franchisees where our home office is located in Denver. And so it is not uncommon for us to reach out and say, hey, listen, we've got a training class going on this week. Let us know if you've got any cleanings that would be appropriate for us to bring some folks out. So we're always very, very sensitive to that. And so sometimes there are and sometimes there aren't. But we also do some mock scenes in our office, and that's been kind of comical in how that's worked, in the sense that generally we like to set it up the evening before. And one time we had our office cleaning crew come in, and they cleaned it all up. And so we had, we use real blood, and so we had a desk or a table and chair and carpet and a knife and all these things that we had created this mock scene. And so we worry a little bit about our cleaning crew and the fact that we wonder what they think we do here, but at the same time we also know that we've got some backup opportunities if we're ever short any cleaners there. But so we do have a little bit of fun, but we do take them through a scenario, and we suit up and we teach them everything from making sure you've got the right PPE to how to clean specific crime scenes and different bio fluids and things like that. In addition to that, I mean, obviously, then there's the business aspect of it, the marketing aspect of it, and we work very closely with one of our other 5-star franchising brands, ProNexus. They are essentially our in-house marketing agency, which is kind of fun to be able to have that. And so being able to work closely with them and being able to help put together that marketing plan with the franchisee, as well as our marketing agency there. And then we work very closely with them on everything from software to how to use specific products, to how to go and make a presentation, and how to do a sale. It's because it's so community focused, the aspect of being there at the spring fling and the local baseball games and those opportunities to just get out there in the community are key for our brand.
Yeah, certainly not to the scale that you're describing, but here at the LSM offices, we've left some messes for our cleaning crew to clean up the next day as well. It's definitely more.
Like Taco Bell.
The type of things an advertising agency would leave hanging around. So not quite as scary, but
yeah. Well, you know who to call if it does get scary.
Right, I do. Now I know exactly. Well, cool. So you mentioned, so obviously, getting out there in the community, making sure you've got great presence so that the franchisees can be successful. Training them, obviously, super important for the brand to make sure you're putting your best foot forward. Because as you mentioned, referrals, I'm sure, is a big source as well, given how you're going to build inside of different communities. You mentioned too a little bit about like software and things like that. How are you all leveraging technology in your business to make sure that you're as effective and streamlined as you can be?
Right, right. Well, and I think technology, people look at cleaning and they say, oh, it's a low tech business. And it really is. I mean, we don't have POS systems, things like that. But even just from being able to provide data back to the franchisees, it's essential that you're able to provide those benchmarks to help them understand, hey, who do I need to talk to if I want to work on this KPI in my business? And so being able to provide that data back to them is essential. And so having systems and processes in place that they get a weekly report. We share we share a lot of information with them as it relates to weekly sales numbers. They get every week they get a report that says here are the top performers. And so now some of our newer franchisees say, hey, that's who I'm going to buddy up to at the annual conference, or that's who I'm going to reach out to and say, hey, tell me how you're doing that. How are you getting those insurance jobs? How are you getting some of these things? How are you scaling your business? What does that look like? And so being able to have that data to provide back to them is such a key piece to any brand, and being able to leverage that. And then same thing with marketing. The digital landscape for marketing is continually changing, and so with that, making sure that we're partnered with the right marketing partners to be able to provide those insights, and that whether it's SEO or PPC or content creation or videos, so that we can share our story. It's a continually evolving and an education process for our franchisees.
Absolutely. So you're set up to support the system, set up to support the franchisees. Let's talk a little bit about growth then for the brand. You guys are, as you mentioned, it may not be top of mind for everyone in terms of just a franchise system they may think of, but talk a little bit about what your plans for growth are as you look for the future, and what maybe kind of exciting things that you have on the horizon for Bio1.
Yeah, absolutely. So from a growth standpoint, the beauty of Bio1 is that we've got lots of opportunity for growth. We've got about 135 locations across the continental U.S. That's kind of where we've predominantly focused. Lots of opportunity internationally, but right now we're very, very focused on continental U.S. As well as Alaska and Hawaii. I mean, everybody's excited to go and do that field visit out in Hawaii when that comes along, right? But from our standpoint, we work very closely with some national partners. So we work closely with the FBI National Academy Associates. They do a lot of training of local law enforcement all over the country, all over the world. And so we regularly, whether it's their national conference or whether they're quarterly events held at Quantico, we have the opportunity to present to them and help them understand what our services are. And with that, so many of them ask, do you cover this area? Do you cover this area? We say we do. Well, our franchisees will drive. But so for us, we look at it and we say, hey, our goal would be to have a really great response time if we can be there in less than an hour. Because sometimes you need to be on scene right away. If it's a road accident, if it's, things like that. And so our ability to provide that service is key. So we're excited about the opportunity to continue to grow. We've been fairly consistent in our growth. Our goal is aggressive this year. We're looking to add 30 new franchises. And so with that, we've got some really, really neat opportunities, and we work with some great partners, and we've got a great story to tell as well.
Fantastic. Do you all find it advantageous inside of your network of franchisees to have folks that are over multiple territories or have like multiple units that they're owners of, or inside of your group, is it better to maybe just have like a single location? What's the dynamic look like there?
Right. So the answer is yes. So I think it's important to have an opportunity that kind of fits the need of whoever, or of what their need is, what they're looking for. So about 15% of our network has more than one franchise. In some cases, we've got some that have two or three. And then we've got others who, hey, maybe this is something part-time that they're doing. And so that's been helpful for them because it partners well with whether they're existing law enforcement or whether they're getting ready to retire, and so they're getting this started as they wind down their last few years as a first responder. So with that, our goal is to make sure we've got a model for both. We have one of our franchisees is a former police chief and in Indianapolis, and so he has a very successful business in Indianapolis, and we had a couple businesses come up for sale in Phoenix, and so he's now kind of sharing his time between Indy and Phoenix, and growing those businesses. And so again, there's quite a bit of opportunity to be able to run it from more of an executive model. You've got some great general managers in place who can continue to drive it. He's still the visionary. He's still the one that continues to hold that accountability chart and is able to set those goals and review strategy with his teams. But yeah, many of our franchisees, their goal is to own more than one.
Excellent. So, something that we see very prevalent inside the world of franchising is, the desire to get into a system where you can look to your peer group to really influence your, decision making. And you mentioned that a minute ago, like, I want to go meet this person at conference, or I want to understand how the top 10%, of folks are running their business. How do you all encourage kind of that peer group environment amongst the franchisees and that sharing of information amongst them, obviously to the betterment of the overall brand?
Yeah. It is probably the biggest advantage of being part of a franchise, right? I mean, that's why people get into this, so that they can have people who they can cry on their shoulder and at the same time celebrate with and celebrate their wins. And franchising is full of that. I mean, I can't tell you how many friends we've made that because we got to celebrate and we got to know them. We do a number of things. We do a lot of times you'll see the people who they go through training with. That's their lifetime. Those are their lifetime buddies. They all started at the same place. They celebrate each other's success. They're the ones having breakfast together at the annual conference. They're the ones that you see go on vacation together. So it's fun to see that aspect. We do this morning actually. The reason why I had to push a half hour is we had our town hall this morning, and and that town hall is available to all of our franchisees. It's designed to be an open forum. I come with a couple of topics that I want to update the network on, but then it just becomes an open forum. I get a lot of new franchisees who will say, "Hey, I'd love to hear other people's pitch," and so we'll have two or three folks share their pitch, or, "Hey, I'm going out to do an estimate on this job. Has anybody else done that?" And so being able to provide that open forum has been really fun, because now they feel less pressure to call someone or cold call, a franchisee maybe that they don't know very well. So we're able to provide that opportunity. But then the other piece of it is we're finding that more and more of our franchisees in their local markets are getting together on a regular basis. And how do we co-op market together? How can we learn from each other? How do we do the home show together? Things like that. Hey, we're attending the suicide loss prevention conference. We'd love to do it together and sponsor it together. So really, really neat opportunities to work together. And it's some of the benefits of being part of the franchise. And they'll work with their franchise advisory council as well. And so again, they'll have regular communication, and so a lot of free flowing information that way too.
Yeah, the importance of having a franchise advisory council to liaison with the franchisor and keep the franchisees kind of informed on decisions is super important inside the space for sure. So we've got a good sense of you all being in a pretty niche market, but a one that is certainly needed, one that you rely upon your boots on the ground marketing, your referral marketing, you're also just your outbound kind of aggressive marketing as well to get the word out about Bio1, bring it inside all of the franchisees to work together to make sure the brand grows. And you mentioned your aggressive growth plans. So is there anything else that we're missing about Bio1 that that folks can get a little more info on or excited about?
I think one of the things that we're probably the most proud of is, people get into business all for different reasons, and some is to build a legacy for their family and build wealth, and that's great, and who's not in it for that. But the other component of it is the ability to give back to their community. And we did we're firm believers in the Franchise Business Review survey that goes out to our franchisees. And one of the things that it rated was franchisee satisfaction. Now, I've been in the home services market for a while and in franchising, and so I know kind of what that looks like and what kind of the norm is. And when you're in house cleaning, or whether you're in property management or whatever it is, you've got generally a fairly decent level of franchisee satisfaction. For Bio1, it was off the charts. It was off the charts. People love the ability to be able to give back to their community. So a lot of times people focus on hey, I don't know if I have the stomach to do the things that you do, that sounds gross. But they often forget about that other side of it, which is so very satisfying, is the fact that we came in and we helped a family get back into their home. This is the worst day of their life. We hope they never have to call us and use our services. But if they do, that we were able to take care of them with empathy, with discretion, with care. And so I hear that regularly from our franchisees. It's unique. It's unique in the sense that we clean the things that nobody else wants to clean. And yet we have such a high rate of franchisee satisfaction. Our franchisees love it. They enjoy talking to each other and sharing ideas. I've also learned that talking about some of the things that they're doing is very therapeutic for them as well. Seeing what they see, there's a level of mental health and health awareness that needs to happen as well. And so with that, being able to have a network that they can share, who they see the same things that they do, and so being able to lean on each other a bit there. And I think that also lends to that level of high satisfaction in a kind of a unique niche, like crime scene trauma cleaning. And so
yeah, for sure. So and what you're spot on in my opinion as well, just in terms of being able to give back to the community, being able to soften the blow for people as best you can, and just be that other touch point of trying to help someone get through a tough time, or whatever other services you guys provide in terms of like the cleanup and drug cleanup and things like that you mentioned before too. So Danessa, it's been amazing to get to know Bio1, get to know your story, get to know the service you all provide, and the fact that franchisees not only have an opportunity, as you mentioned, to succeed and to succeed within the system financially, but also have that great satisfaction of knowing that they're a part of a great community of Bio1 fellow franchisees, but also able to service and help their community and give back.
Yeah, big piece. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we've really appreciated having you on. Danessa, thank you so much for being on FranchisOR Bust. FranchisOR Bust, by the way, Katie, is sponsored by who?
StackAdapt.
StackAdapt. That's right. The #1 provider of programmatic advertising in the franchise space. Danessa, thank you so much again. And we look forward to having to this broadcast and to folks learning more about Bio1. I certainly learned a lot. It was very interesting. And we look forward to having everyone join us again on the next time we get together for FranchisOR Bust. Thank you.